Hey guys, Claire here, and in today's video we're going to talk about all things Harry and Meghan. Prince Harry's Polo docuseries will be available on Netflix this December. According to the Netflix release, Polo is a new documentary series that follows the elite global players and offers an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the fast-paced world of the sport. From Archwell Productions and Boardwalk Pictures, premiering this December only on Netflix. Can't wait. Special congratulations to Invictus champion Curtis McGrath, who brought home the gold for Team Australia at the 2024 Paris Paralympics. More details on the itinerary of Prince Harry's upcoming New York trip is now available. The CEO of the Diana Award will chair a conversation discussion with the Duke and two young people who hold the Legacy Award in memory of Diana, Princess of Wales. Discussion driven by young people will focus on the mental health issues facing their generation today. The conversation will highlight what can be done to improve outcomes and emphasize the resilience and agency of young people. Duchess Meghan was spotted attending an Oprah book club session in Montecito, and from the photos and the very small video, it looks like the Duchess had a fabulous time. Two of Meghan's gal pals were also in attendance, Jamie and Tracy. And for the fashion girlies, the Duchess was rocking a Club Monaco fit. What Meghan wore does a fantastic job of chronicling everything Meghan wears: the clothes, the jewelry, the accessories, everything. So if you're interested in her fashion, feel free to check it out. Now, of course, the UK tabloids quickly wrote a flurry of articles about the Meghan sighting. The one that got the most chatter and backlash was this one titled, "Meghan Markle says she is opening a chapter of joy in her life on the eve of the anniversary of Queen Elizabeth's death," which we all know is a blatant lie. Meghan's conversation of being in her chapter of joy was said in a speech last month in Colombia. We talked about that here on this channel.
Looking at this as my chapter of joy. And the more that you are able to look at your life and really truly recognize that if you're going to be grateful for your life, you have to be grateful for all aspects of it. The parts that were opportunities of growth and may have felt really difficult, as well as the parts that feel inspiring, joyful, and full. And I think part of the role modeling doesn't necessarily need to be a large plan, it just needs to be an intention. And my intentionality is to enjoy this chapter.
And not only did they lie about what Meghan said, because no one knows what she said because the audio was silent, but other members of the royal family were out and about having a good old time. And apparently that's not a problem, but for Meghan, it is.
Meghan Markle says she is opening a chapter of joy in her life on the eve of the anniversary of Queen Elizabeth's death as Duchess speaks at Oprah Winfrey's book club in California. This is just setting up Meghan Markle to get dragged because, of course, they had to add in that this is for the anniversary of Queen Elizabeth's death. However, this is false. Did she speak at Oprah Winfrey's book club in California? Yes, she did. Here she is at Oprah Winfrey's book club. And did she say she is opening a chapter of joy in her life? She did say that, but she didn't say it at Oprah Winfrey's book club. She said it last month when she was in Colombia, when she was on the panel at the Summit for Afro-Colombian Women in Power. In the article that came out today, it says, the Duchess said, "I'm looking at this time as my chapter of joy. The more you're able to look at your life and really, truly recognize and be able to be grateful for your life, you have to be grateful for all aspects of it." They literally took it from the article that was written last month by Harper's Bazaar when she says the same thing in Colombia. This is why you have to take everything that you see with a grain of salt.
Personally, I don't even take it with a grain of salt. Meghan spoke about intentionality, and this is the theme for sources like the Daily Mail. It is their intention to stoke up hatred of this woman. And then you'll have content creators whose entire platforms is based on just a bunch of misinformation and hate for Meghan that will read this, run with it, parrot it, and amplify it. Now, I have seen a lot of people on X hold to account one of the huge content creators who did just that. I feel like a lot of people are just kind of sick and tired of the Harry and Meghan bashing. What I've been seeing, and you guys let me know if you've seen this too, is people who either take them to task and provide the receipts right there in those comment sections, or people just not really engaging with it as much as they used to.
I just want people to truly understand that a trademark denial does not mean that Meghan Markle's brand has failed. Anyone with a basic understanding of foundational business practices could tell you that there's an appeal process to trademark denials, and it's honestly quite common when people are bringing a brand from the ground up. So the obsessive critiques of Meghan Markle and every little thing that she does is not only weird, but it's just odd, really, when it comes from people who say that they don't like her. And it's clear because the only people that seem to be talking about this are the people that swear she's lazy and that she needs to go away, but you're like constantly looking up every little thing that she does. Because when she teased this back in March as someone who's been a fan of Meghan Markle since before she even married Prince Harry, I was like, oh, it's something to look forward to. But I wasn't sitting on the edge of my seat the same way that some of these people who say they don't like her have been. Because I've seen so many critiques over the past few days about how she sent the jam out and how this was supposed to come out next year. And like, what is she doing? I've even heard some people go as far as to say that she was trying to be shady because she announced it when people were wondering where Kate Middleton was. And I'm like, what does this have to do with Kate? But if we're going to talk about Kate and other working royals, I really wish that people extended this level of critique to them, because I remember a few months ago when people were having the conversations about Kate's early years project, the thing that she's been working on mostly as a working royal, and the research that she's done after a decade just said that the early years are foundational for children and they're important. Well, we knew that because that was the whole reason why she launched the project. But it's interesting that no one thought that that was an immense failure when she's been doing it for 10 years and didn't have anything to show for it. You have Meghan Markle, who was critiqued endlessly by British press because she worked too much. And that was interesting to see the level of hours worked by working royals now since Harry and Meghan have left. We've seen Meghan Markle navigate being in the royal family in her transition, moving back to the United States. Her and Harry have been the recipients of multiple humanitarian awards. We've seen her have a successful podcast. They had a successful docuseries on Netflix, and they have more things that they're producing with Netflix. And I'm just trying to understand, like, what about her seems to be a failure, or why do you want her to fail so badly? I just don't really get it. I mean, you have Prince Andrew, who gets to skate by with zero critique every single day, and people make it seem as though Meghan was on Epstein Island.
Meghan Markle's jam company is having trouble taking off.
What do you care, ma'am? I don't understand it. Why do you people waste your time hating on this woman so much? It's weird. And by the way, I went over to the article because I had an inkling. Okay, I had a feeling that you weren't telling the whole truth. You were twisting it. You were manipulating the information. Oh, and I was right, girl. Because the very first paragraph of that article says that you're talking about how there's claims out there that 18 people walked off the job and this and that. That information came out of a gossip magazine from the UK who lie on her constantly. And then the New York Post, they made an article about that. And nobody can confirm it. There's no source. There's nothing. So that's what you took and ran from that whole article. Now, yeah, she started this jam, this orchard business, which, by the way, it's not going to be just jams, right? We're going to have oils. There's all these things listed that she wants to do with this business. If it fails, if it succeeds, she's trying to do something. What is the problem? What have you done with yourself? What have you done with yourself? I don't understand it. I don't understand why you're acting so bothered. Why are you so invested, like she has personally hurt your feelings or something? You know, tell me I'm wrong. Then the rest of the article goes on to talk about how she purchased a minority share in a business that they make hand-woven baskets from women from Rwanda make them. Oh, you didn't want to highlight that little part of the article? No. But again, I ask you, why do you hate her so much? And the only thing I can come up with, because it's always women that hate on her and it's always a certain demographic of woman, The only thing I can think, especially when it's an American woman doing it, is that you are so bitter that Harry didn't pick you. It just burns you to your core that Prince Harry picked her. That has to be what it is. The point is she could do and fail and do and fail as much as she wants now. She's doing what Americans do. Start businesses, lose businesses, start businesses. That's what we do here in America. Just stop. Weirdos, man.
Weirdos indeed. And can I just take a moment to talk about how adorable this bookstore is? Honestly, Montecito just looks so idyllic and peaceful. I'd love to visit there someday. But I especially love this adorable little video where you can see Harry and Meghan's book on display.
This is our local authors shelf when you first walk in, and I want it to be when you first walk in so that authors who are local to the area know that this is their hometown bookstore. And we celebrate our hometown authors as if they were our hometown heroes, because to us they are.
And in other royal news, tensions between Charles and Andrew continue.
Charles, Andrew, utter contempt for each other, both have a poor work ethic. Probably you could use those sentences to describe a lot of the British taxpayer-funded working royal family. But anyway, I digress, let's move on. Comments are open, would love your opinion. The gift that keeps on giving, the Daily Mail, is referring back to this ongoing dispute between Charles and Andrew, where Charles is refusing to pay for Andrew's security and wants Andrew, therefore, to move to a smaller property, which is already secure, because the taxpayers pay for protection, etc. Don't get me wrong, I am no fan of Andrew at all. I think he should be made to pay for his past, checkered past, and his past sins and misdemeanours, but that's a whole other story. The irony in this story is that Charles, with unlimited resources, power and money, a billionaire, is telling someone who does not have access to power, resources and that level of cash to sort themselves out. And to me, this is just a big red flag because it shows what the royal family thinks about everybody else. The royal family believe everyone has the benefits they do. Everyone is growing up entitled with power and the ability to make decisions, but that's just not the case. They are so far removed from the average life of normal people that they just do not understand it. And that's why we need change and debate in 2024. No fan of Andrew. I think he's put himself in this situation, but Charles is tone deaf to anyone that's not in the same situation as himself.
And as some of the commentators said in that video, this could be one of the reasons why William is so incandescent with rage over Harry, because now Harry's removal from that environment and the fact that he's thriving outside of it means that William will never have the opportunity to do to Harry what Charles is doing with Andrew. And like Ministry of Hack said, I don't care for Andrew, and I feel like he should be held responsible for what he may or is accused of doing. Harry removing himself from the firm means that William will never, ever have the power to do that to Harry. And even now we hear articles that William has this plan of attack for Harry once he becomes king. Harry's not there. And he's still obsessing about having control over Harry's life. Now, there are different theories as to why William seems to be so obsessed and has this deep dislike of Meghan. Now you have this beautiful, accomplished, worldly woman loving his brother. I think that bothered him. Also, the inclusion of Meghan into Harry's life means that Harry had to go to therapy and take it seriously. He had to do things to improve his life. And for some people, unfortunately, when we start to improve certain things about ourselves, it makes them uncomfortable because we sort of change for the better of us, but it's uncomfortable for them. And perhaps William saw the writing on the wall, because if Harry married Meghan, this worldly woman whose life goals were not similar to someone like Kate or even Camilla. Meghan's main motivation appears to be one of peace and philanthropy, as opposed to chasing a title to become queen or queen consort one day. Marrying someone like that produced an opportunity for Harry to move away from an institution and environment that he had already, for years prior, talked about disliking, talked about wanting to step away from. And Meghan, in many ways, presented that opportunity to Harry. Perhaps William saw that. This woman who loves his brother and dotes on him in ways that other members of their family didn't, would ultimately lead to Harry living a life of freedom, unencumbered by the gilded cage of the firm. Now, personally, do I think that he is going to make it his number one priority to strip Harry and Meghan of the Sussex titles? Probably go a step further and remove the titles of Prince and Princess of Archie and Lily. Personally, I think those are the two things that he may possibly try to do, but I think he is obsessed enough, vindictive enough to try to do those things. Only time will tell. But you're telling me your wife is ill, your father is ill, there's so much stuff going on in the world that this is what you sit around talking about, leaking about. And also, your ill father has to be gone, no longer with us for you to become king. You're not thinking about any of that. You're thinking of getting back at your brother who had the audacity to remove himself and his family from an environment that is so hostile. The threat levels to their lives is astronomical. It's insane. And not only has Harry removed himself, therefore robbing William of having control over Harry when he becomes king, Harry had the audacity to expose or shatter this facade that William and the palace has spent years creating. The public persona of William is shattered when Harry talked about the dog bowl and the injury to his back, talked about William's pettiness and obsession about the beard and the multitude of other silly things in Spare. And for all the people who love to say, well, we don't know what happened. No, we don't. But the mere fact that William, who constantly briefs to the press, did not and could not, and to this day has not ever denied the situation with the dog bowl. He briefed, mocking Harry going to therapy. What a mess.
She entered an institution that has not changed for centuries. Meghan's mere presence completely changed that. Their mere existence, their mere story has raised issues about misogyny within the institution of the monarchy, about unconscious bias or racism. And I know Harry called it unconscious bias. I'm still going to call it racism because I think that it's only not racist when it's unconscious. The second someone makes it conscious to you and you try and minimize it or skirt the topic, or recollections may vary it, that is racism. You know, and I'm sorry to that even me saying that makes people feel uncomfortable, but it's the reality. But then there's also bigger issues about the institution's entrenchment with the British media, that toxic relationship that has actually made the lives of other family members a living hell. And I wrote the other day, I said, I think the royal family need to realize that they don't even need the British media.
So all of this was going on. So she endured that, and she's been gone now almost 5 years, and still without fail, every day, there is an article written about her. And people are, oh, I'm so sick of hearing about Meghan Markle. I'm so sick of seeing her. Why doesn't she go away? But she did, guys. I want to say this very clearly. And I know some of you just aren't going to understand it because critical thinking ain't your thing. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm not attacking you for that. I get it. Critical thinking isn't your thing. Media literacy isn't your thing. Deductive logic and reasoning and coming to conclusions based on factual information is not your thing. That is okay.
2 years ago, Queen Elizabeth passed, but really, guys, we have to abolish the monarchy, man. Like, what is royalty? What is a royal bloodline? Like, literally, like, they've asserted power for centuries. You know, they probably did it through immoral means, and their ancestors have just continued this lineage, but even though it's not brutal in this current state, like, there's a lot of madness in their history. It's genuinely primitive. It's genuinely just outdated. You know, like, it's not fair on genuine working class British people. Like, they're not cared about, even though a lot of people actually are quite patriotic to it. These people at the top, they don't care about them. It's crazy, like, all of this energy, but these people at the top don't care. Like, this country's in shambles as well. Like, you know, inside as well, that they're exempt from law inside Buckingham Palace as well. Like, I really don't understand why we're allowing this to happen. On top of that, let's take a look at our French cousins, innit? Just across the water. They got rid of their monarchy. They're still making money. So like that whole idea of, oh, we're not going to make money the same way, we're not going to generate revenue in the same way, it's not an argument. Like, we could still keep Buckingham Palace and Windsor, still make money from it. I also don't like the way Prince Harry and Meghan have been treated. You know, like that. It's just like, look, guys, just let's get rid of it, man. We don't need it.
Prince Harry's 40th birthday soon approaches. There have been so many articles about Prince Harry and his upcoming birthday. One of their people to Montecito to dig up dirt. She ended up digging up, well, nothing. And the article, quite frankly, sounds like just about every other article she's written about Harry and Meghan over the years. And it's punctuated with old photos. I do appreciate how a vast majority of people in Montecito are giving these reporters absolutely nothing. And I do love how much that lack of access to the Sussexes drives them crazy.
So the Daily Mail sent one of their best and brightest, Jan Moore, to Montecito to get the scoop on Harry's 40th. She's the one that inserted a biracial slur in an article about Meghan, and as any biracial person will tell you, as one is telling you now, it is a mixed-race slur. Typical UK press tactics. But Jan failed to secure a seat at an event that Meghan participated in at the Godmother bookstore this weekend, September 7th. Perhaps they need to reread the book Spare to discover how it is that they got iced out of the Sussex world. Better yet, focus on their island patrons. There are plenty of charities without one these days. Don't forget to leave your comment.
And herein concludes today's video. Wherever you guys are, I hope you're having a blessed and peaceful day. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, hit that notification bell.